go for it. It's time for Politics Friday. Joining me is Reuben Davison and Hamish Campbell. Good morning to you both. Nice to see you, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Reuben. Great
Hamish,
to be here.
Hamish, to you first, you've been re-elected to stand in Ireland again. You feeling good about this? And what do you want to achieve next term if the voters vote you win again?
Look, this is a huge honour to be an MP, and it's something definitely that I don't take for granted. And it's great to be reselected. It means that I'm going to be the candidate for the 2026 election. Look, I have the goal, very simply, to be the best local MP I can be here in Ireland and also in Wellington. As you know, my background is as a research scientist, so I'm really keen to make sure we're really pushing for research and development, but also access to pharmaceutical interventions, and those are things that I'll be continuing to advocate for.
Reuben, you standing again?
Definitely.
Good. You heard it here first on, I was going to say, another media organisation they haven't worked for years. On Chris Lynch Media, good for you. And you're looking forward to giving it all. I mean, I kind of get the impression right now, you lot are probably in safe seats, but never say never. Reuben?
Look, I don't think you can ever say seats.
Look at that.
Yeah.
We're in tune.
Look, it's a 7 day a week job, and absolutely love it. It's amazing. We have an amazing community, and it's about kind of getting out and actually listening to what people have to say and representing them. At the end of the day, it's a House of Representatives.
Well, I wish you both well. So far, I quite like both of you, so you can stay for now, but who knows? It's a week in, what's that saying about week in politics? Let's discuss some other stuff now, including the week in politics. To you first, Reuben, on this. There's been a lot of noise, really, from the education sector about the government removing schools' obligation to give effect to the treaty. But I've got to say, Reuben, what is wrong with getting schools to focus on core learnings? I wonder how much this is hysteria from the unions.
Yeah, so this is a directive to school boards of trustees. So I've been on a school board of trustees, and I understand the important role that a board of trustees plays in the governance of a school. These are schools in New Zealand. The Treaty of Waitangi is a hugely significant part of our past and our future, and to tell school boards that they no longer need to consider that or factor that into their thinking seems pretty odd to me, and I haven't had any good explanation from anyone in the governing parties as to why that has all of a sudden become a priority for them. Maybe Hamish can explain.
Hamish, I mean, here's the point here. I mean, in an interview with the School Board Association president, she couldn't really explain, though, how removing the treaty obligations affects attendance and achievement. She kept saying it's all about understanding the child, and that sounds all very well and good, but there were no concrete examples of why this was so important. Don't get me wrong, the history of this country is incredibly important. Thoughts?
Look, it is important, and it's kind of really interesting what Reuben said, because not once did he actually mention educational achievements of our kids, and we want our boards to be focused solely on delivering for our kids. We want our children to be internationally competitive. This was introduced by the previous Labour government in 2022, and really the saying kind of comes to mind that Nero fiddled while Rome burnt. During the previous government, our education standards absolutely plummeted. And according to our PISA scores, we actually ended up in the bottom 15 countries of the OECD. And what we're doing is we're making sure our education system delivers for students. And actually, we've already seen results. We have seen our phonics check at 20 weeks. We have seen it go from 36% to 58%. So that's students that are now reaching achievement. And for Māori students, that went from 25% to 43%. So that is actually what we're doing to make sure we can have good outcomes for everybody, including Māori. And I would say actually what the previous government gave was actually a breach of the treaty, because they didn't care about our outcomes of our Māori students.
Reuben, is that a fair point? I mean, if education attainment is going up, shouldn't we be doing okay? Or hang on, or conversely, could that actually be, well, is that part of the fact that we are using more treaty obligation influenced knowledge learnings in the curriculum and how the board of trustees work?
Look, I think everybody wants to see greater educational achievement in our schools, but for Hamish to claim that a decision that was announced and actioned by the Minister of Education this week has already had an impact in schools by removing te tiriti obligations from schools.
I did not say that.
It's
I did not
simply
say that.
laughable.
Well, Reuben,
to
you totally misconstrued that. I said that we are
also
focused on
suggest-
getting educational outcomes.
Well, wait
You
till
haven't
Hamish
mentioned the
finishes.
educational outcomes. And the fact is that we're focused on that, and it includes making sure we have a knowledge-rich curriculum, focusing on structured literacy. And so all these things together actually produces outcomes which the previous government did not produce.
Reuben, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is a narrow focus issue. So you're saying to school board of trustees, only focus on one thing. We don't have confidence in your ability to focus on more than one thing ever. And you're also saying to schools and to students, there's only one type of student, there's only one type of learning. Here's a plan, everyone's going to learn the same things at the same time, the same way. And what I hear from the schools that I visit across my electorate at every level, primary, intermediate and secondary schools, is that a one-size cookie-cutter, internationally imported education system isn't going to work for anyone.
I've got to say though, can I just 1 moment? When asked though,
hit the bottom.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I think the Labor government's more focused on ethnicity than education, and I think it's appalling.
Reuben, I want to pick you up on something. Is when the president of the School Board Association was asked for an example of how the treaty obligations influence the board's daily work, the School Board Association president said, and I quote, "It just allows them to focus on what they need to cover." I mean, doesn't that suggest the treaty wording was symbolic, though, rather than practical? I mean, how's giving effect the treaty a practical application in one's daily learnings?
Well, I think if you're talking about a governance perspective for a school board of trustees, which is ultimately what a board of trustees is there to do, a governance role for the school, factoring in treaty considerations and a treaty perspective into the way schools are governed is pretty straightforward. It's not difficult. It's not an impediment. It doesn't get in the way of a school board going about doing what they need to do, which is creating the best possible learning environment for our young people. And I can't understand how the minister or how Hamish thinks that removing that obligation is going to somehow be a silver bullet fix for any school board of trustees.
Hamish, I'll give you the final word before we move on.
Look, I think kind of the biggest breach of the treaty is actually not teaching our Māori kids, or at least in getting their education achievements up, and that is what we're doing. And I suggest the Labor Party should get on board.
The government is talking about potential move-on laws to address homelessness and disorder. This is particularly in Auckland, though, but there's obviously issues here in Christchurch too. Reuben, what's your take on this? I mean, it's how do we strike the right balance between compassion and public safety?
Yeah, so there's a couple of interesting things here, right? Because you said the government's talking about it. According to the Prime Minister, they're not. According to the Minister of Police, they are. And so I'm not sure who to believe on this one. Maybe Hamish can put us straight on it. But more importantly, what we're seeing here, we're seeing record levels of homelessness. No one can disagree with that. Everyone is telling us in our major cities, in our smaller towns. I hear it from suburbs across Christchurch East. People are seeing homeless people where they have never seen them before and at levels they have never seen before. And the only solution that the government seem to have is that they're just going to ban those people from central city metropolitan areas, which to me says we've created a problem, we're not interested in addressing it, and now we just want to hide it away.
Hamish, how do we fix this problem? Because it does appear to be getting bigger. I mean, every day, well, not every day, that's a stretch, but perhaps a few times a week now, I'm getting people saying I'm noticing more and more people living in their cars in red zone areas of Christchurch. Now, I need to actually pick up on that at some stage, but it does seem to be getting worse. Do you agree that homelessness is getting worse?
Oh, look, I think it's a very complex issue, and it's not just a new issue. If you look back in the BT reports in 2022, there was a drama around the 5 lanes in the B&Z Centre here in Christchurch when some of the businesses wanted people to move on. They suggested not providing them with food, all sorts of things. This is not a new one. It's a really complex thing. It involves a lot of drug abuse, alcohol, mental health. I visited with the Otatahi Housing First organisation, which actually provides homes and support for it. So they provide a wraparound service. It was actually initially a National Party policy back in our previous government to try and have a wraparound service, because a lot of these people that are rough sleeping, there is multiple complex issues there that we need to address. And so we've increased the Housing First places by about 300 places to try and help have more support for those that are sleeping rough. We've also added an extra $10 million to organisations that are helping rough sleepers to try and address this. There's going to be a whole range of measures that need to be used to actually fix this problem. It's very hard for businesses if they have people sleeping in their doorways to attract customers in. So of course we need to make sure that we can have an environment where everybody is catered for. So those are things that we're working on.
I wonder whether we'll see.
Nice. Hamish didn't actually answer the question about whether there's been an increase or not.
Do you think there has, Hamish? Are you seeing that yourself?
The thing is, we are making sure that we can get kids and families out of motels. We're trying to make sure we can fix the problem.
But where are you putting them?
They were spending billions of dollars on motels. We're moving them into social and transitional housing. But it is, as I say, for the rough sleepers, this is a really complex issue that hasn't just arisen now. As I said, you can go back, look through the media reports. You can see businesses were having this issue before we came into government.
The Māori Party is tearing itself apart. I mean, it seems now every day you see something destructive with all the infighting, the public feuds, the walkouts, the power struggles. Reuben, is Labour's potential coalition party dead in the water?
The Māori Party have been a coalition partner for National Party and Labour Party in government at various times.
Perhaps when they were more moderate, though. Let's be honest,
they've actually only ever been a coalition partner for the national government.
Yeah.
The issue is really for Te Pāti Māori, and I've suggested previously.
Are you going to rule them out as a coalition partner?
Sorry, Hamish, I'm trying to finish my answer, but I'm sure you'll have one. You'll contribute to the conversation when you get your turn. I think a lot of the questions that you have asked me or might ask me this morning and have asked me previously, Chris, are questions for Te Pāti Māori ultimately to answer. And I totally recommend that you get them on and have a conversation about it. What we're seeing at the moment is a political party that's probably not fit to be in government, but the same can be said about the National Party now, but also the National Party not so long ago, when there was a whole bunch of infighting and there was a whole bunch of very unhealthy political dynamics that were playing out very publicly. So political parties, do tend to go through their cycles. It's unfortunate that this one's as public as it is at the moment, and but ultimately it's a matter for Te Pāti Māori.
You see, I think why many people are looking at this with such gleeful cheer is perhaps because it seems like they're just more interested in theatre. And I haven't actually once heard how they want to get their people out of poverty. I haven't heard once how they're going to achieve, better education attainment. It all seems to be about how everybody else is the problem. And I think that's the problem they face too. It's not just the infighting, it's the public relations damage that has been done. And I'm hearing a lot of people saying that they wouldn't vote for them now and they voted for them in the past. Hamish, to you?
Yeah, look, and Chris, before I answer that question, I just wanted to pick up on something that Reuben said. Reuben said that they're unfit to be in Parliament. So does that mean, Reuben, you're going to rule them out as a coalition partner?
I didn't say
they're unfit. You said they're unfit to be fit to be in Parliament. That's a pretty strong word. So are you going to rule them out as being in coalition?
I'm happy to clarify my answer, but you'll have to stop talking to enable me to do that.
Go on, Reuben. Because that was going to be my headline, Reuben. So make it stronger for me, please.
Okay. So what I actually said, Hamish, was currently they're not fit to be in government. So that doesn't mean that at some point in the future they might be able to turn that around. And the difference between Parliament and government, everybody knows what that is. What I also said was that potentially currently the National Party aren't fit to be in government. So that one you can quote. Right.
I prefer the first one, but anyway, unemployment rate has risen to...
So it's been like the Labour Kool-Aid a little bit too hard. But you're right, Chris, this is a minor party in Parliament. Look, we're focused on actually delivering for all New Zealanders, and I think what's really important to kind of emphasise is I don't think Te Pāti Māori actually represent the view of all Māori, and we are actually here to develop, promote everybody in New Zealand, not just one issue. So Reuben hasn't ruled out working with them in coalition, which I think is really interesting, even though he thinks they're unfit to be in Parliament.
Unemployment rate has risen to a near 9-year high of 5.3%. Reuben, what are we going to do to get people out of this? There are a lot of people that are looking for work, but the work's not available. So give me something tangible Labor is working on to get people into work.
Yeah, so, I mean, let's look at what's happened here, right? Christopher Luxon ran a campaign saying he was going to make things better, and he has literally made things worse. Unemployment up to, levels that we haven't seen in almost a decade. We're seeing 5.3% general unemployment. We're seeing over 15% youth unemployment. And as a result of that, we're seeing 200 people a day leaving New Zealand because there simply aren't the jobs or the opportunities here in this country that they want to stay in because of the cuts and because of the changes and because of the wrong priorities that this government has focused on.
So give me a priority that Labor would be working on to get more jobs back into this country.
So we've made several announcements over the last couple of weeks. The first of those is the Future Fund, which is about investing in ourselves, creating a sovereign wealth fund that will make sure that our innovators, that our local companies can grow and have the backing to do that and to stay here. And I personally went and made some announcements around our commitment to the gaming development sector rebate to make sure that a really innovative sector that has grown 86% since we introduced that sector rebate in government, to make sure that they know that they can continue to grow, they can continue to innovate, and they can continue to create the kind of well-paid jobs that New Zealanders need and that New Zealanders deserve. We can make that happen. We've got a plan to make that happen. This government currently simply seem happy to watch unemployment rates and laugh while we're talking about it. Unemployment rates climb, homelessness climb, and to watch as 200 people a day leave this country because there simply aren't the opportunities there should be.
Hamish,
Chris,
what are you going to do to fix this problem? Or is it a problem?
Look, the laugh is not at the fact of the unemployment. The laugh is that you actually have a plan. Your plan was leaked. There's been very little details. There's been no costings. Your gaming thing is to give millions to companies that already are making millions. So it is a bit of a joke. So anyway, can we get back to actually the unemployment? What we have seen is actually unemployment levels are lower than actually what was predicted under the Labor government. But if you drive up debt to $100 billion, you drive up interest rates, you're actually going to see businesses not invest because they can't afford to it. So we're actually changing that. We've got inflation under control, we've got interest rates down, we've introduced investment boost so companies can actually invest. Of course, we have announced $7 billion of infrastructure. We also have introduced the fast track legislation, and if you look at some of those projects on that, we've got gold mines, which would have about 1,000 jobs that will create. Labor voted against it. We want to expand some of our ports. Labor voted against it. The Auckland port alone is expected to create 140,000 jobs over the next decade. So there's a whole range of things that we need to get into place to actually drive our economy forward so we can actually get the unemployment level down. Bearing in mind, under the last government, 66,000 more people ended up on benefits. So that's a population of Invercargill, man, woman and child that ended up on benefits under the previous government. So we actually have to try and clean up the mess, and that is what we're doing to make sure we have the settings so we can actually get people in the job.
Okay.
To pick up on a point there and make a correction, because Hamish is claiming that we're committing to throwing millions of dollars at the gaming sector. It's a rebate, so the money has to come in before a rebate is paid out. The money is baselined. Our commitment is to invest up to the $40 million that is currently baselined under a national government. So it's making sure that resource is available. And bear in mind here, we're talking about $40 million to a growing and productive, innovative sector in New Zealand. And Hamish is part of a government that gave $300 million to big tobacco.
Well, that's completely not true. That's completely not true. That is absolutely not true.
Before we go, two questions that are on my mind, actually. There's been rumours, and this might be rubbish, but it sounds exciting, talk of a grand coalition. Have either of you heard about either of your party leaders talking to each other about the potential for a grand coalition, or is that just nonsense?
I think take a look at the last 10 things that the National Party in government have done, and try and imagine how a Labour government. So
that's a terrible Beltway. So that's a terrible Beltway rumour. Just quickly,
Chris.
Yes,
we're increasing education outcomes. We're delivering more elective surgeries.
But none of you are saying. But have you two heard this rumour? Have you heard this rumour before? Or is it just one of those weird things?
I think that rumour has been going on ever since MMP.
Okay. And finally, the other big question on my mind is it's fashion festival over the next 3 days. Are either of you attending any of the things? I mean, I thought about it, but I don't know if my jacket's sexy enough. There's fashion. It's it's kind of exciting. It's New Zealand Fashion Festival the next 3 days. You going? Either of you?
Look, I don't think I'd make the grade with my wardrobe. So I wish everybody who's participating all the best. I hope they have a fantastic time, and it's great to see another innovative sector being celebrated here in New Zealand.
And creative.
Yeah. Hamish, are you walking down the catwalk, Hamish?
I don't think I'd cut the mustard either. But as I say, it's great to seeing our art sector, our creative sector, being celebrated. So wish everybody who's taking part all the best.
And really, it's just sad that with the curriculum changes through secondary schools, we're seeing all of those feeder subjects that lead into that area being cut back or removed altogether.
That's a good last word.
We actually need to focus on a knowledge-rich curriculum. So
you like the creative sector, but you don't want people to learn how to be part of it.
And actually, we can measure outcomes, and we're
I think this answers your question about the Grand Coalition, Chris.
Okay. Have a good weekend, you two. Bye-bye.
You too.
Thanks.
See you.